Is ABC News political analyst, joins us every Tuesday at 6:20. Good morning, Trey.
Good morning, McGraw.
All right, let's talk a little Donald Trump because, reality and hype sort of don't converge in all of this. Let's first talk world politics and foreign policy. You can make an argument that Donald Trump is being somewhat very traditional, following these sort of standard guidelines when it comes to foreign policy. Agree or disagree?
Well, I agree. I think this is an area where he scores very high, actually, and the biggest reason he does is because of the people he's put around him. I think this is one of the best national security teams that has been assembled in a long time. A lot of military voices there that have a lot of experience and knowledge. But more importantly, especially if you consider his personality and how we complain about how he doesn't listen in other areas, he listens to these folks. I think he recognizes the gravity of the decision-making process, that putting soldiers into harm's way and the consequences of military action. And so he defers to his advisors on that front. And I think that says a lot, especially because he's clearly not doing that in other areas. So he's taking a very strong stance. I think everything he's done on the national security and foreign relations front has been a significant improvement over a previous administration that thought that you could just kind of nice your way around the world and that everyone, including the bad guys, would end up liking America. So I would give him high marks in that bucket.
I had a prominent Republican who I will not mention say to me that he feels somewhat better when Donald Trump hires a Rex Tillerson, not because of his foreign policy experience, but because Rex Tillerson is a smart businessman, and Donald Trump respects smart businessmen, and he'll listen to people he respects, and if he respects you, then the country's in a much better spot.
Well, it's true, although I will say this. I mean, and it's not that it's never happened with presidents in the past, but it's really happening too often here. It is not good when you are either contradicting or undercutting or discrediting things that your cabinet members are saying. And I think we've seen far too much, because this has happened with Tillerson as well, where Tillerson will be doing his job and doing it the right way and approaching it, and then he gets undercut by some tweet or something that his boss says. And that's just, that is a recipe ultimately for disaster. It's a recipe for someone like Tillerson saying, I don't need this anymore, I'm getting out of here. There's no question that, Tillerson is a strong mind, strong business person, has global experience. So it's, to me, it's yet to be seen on those type of cabinet positions if there's going to be success. But what I think more importantly is that the military advisors that he's put around him, certainly at the Defense Department and his national security advisor, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and all those folks, it's an area that he recognizes the gravity of, and he's allowing them to make the decisions as he should.
Let's talk local politics and/or closer to home. And I don't want people to drive off the road while I try and give Donald Trump cover. But it seems like the Republican Party is ungovernable. So why would we expect Donald Trump, even though he thinks he can, govern a body that is completely ungovernable?
Because he said he would be able to do it, and that's the biggest problem. He's his own worst enemy. This whole artificial 100 days thing is something he created, which I know staffers were cringing at when he did it. I mean, it's foolish. It's most things in life are about setting proper expectations. Politics certainly is about that, and he has done a horrible job about that because he's all into this pomp and circumstance and want the attention on himself, and he wants the spotlight. It's just a foolish thing, and so if you're grading him from delivering on campaign promises, you'd have to give him a huge F. And that's because why? He overpromised. The way he overpromises makes it even worse. It's not that candidates in the past haven't made campaign promises they don't deliver on, but a lot of that gets lost because they set the proper expectations when they get into office. He has not done that. So if he didn't come in saying that he was going to be able to be best buddies with every single Republican in town, and that they were all going to love him, and that they were going to move this big agenda, then I think he'd be in a better position.
So going forward, how do we get out of this, or do we, or is this going to be? I mean, because right now nothing's getting done, and in the foreseeable future, it doesn't look like anything's going to get done.
Well, it's true, and I think that he needs to find a way to hit the reset button right now. And I can tell you this because many conversations I've had that they would never say on the record. Even though he is the president and the commander-in-chief, there are tons of Republicans on Capitol Hill that still don't take him seriously. I'm not sure. It's certainly not easy to correct that, but I think an effort needs to be made, and that is where he has to either invite them down one by one or go back up there and speak to a room and say, okay, guys, you know what? I recognize that this was very different than what I thought it would be. Listen, what do we have to do to communicate better? Let's start this relationship over and try to hit the reset button, because right now he's certainly put Speaker Ryan in a very tough position, because Speaker Ryan's the one that's having to basically carry his water as an emissary, and it's just not a good start for a president. So I think he has to establish a foundation of credibility with even those in his own party on the Hill.
Trey Harden, ABC News political analyst, after a sweep of the Mets, he goes into the weekend series. Trey, have a good week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. Take care, bud.
7:26:27, Big 550.